Hello, my name's Scott and welcome, and today I'm going to be talking about video technology and production. Firstly, I'm going to talk about film. Well, a feature film is a series of photographs moving frame by frame, creating an illusion and telling a story. Films are regularly shown in theatres or television, with the majority between 70 and 127 minutes long. There are different words to describe films, such as movies, motion pictures, or photoplay. The history of film has existed more than 100 years and is most known to be one of the most important tools of communication and entertainment we all know today. The difference between film and photography is that a feature film is shot automatically with a motion picture camera rather than a photo camera that is only capable of taking one picture at a time. For example, shooting a video is sort of stop motion. The faster the frame rate, the more accurate the motion will be. And what is frame rate, you ask? Well, frame rate, better known as frames per second, is a process which refers to the number of individual frames that are displayed per second when shooting a film. It is the number of times when the image on screen refreshes per second. The standard frame rate used in live action movies are shot regularly at 24 frames per second, and the standard for TV shows are shot at 30 frames per second. However, filmmakers have experimented with movies with much higher frame rates. For example, director Peter Jackson decided to shoot the Hobbit trilogy at 48 frames per second, twice the standard frame rate, to create a much more comfortable viewing experience, in his own words. But so far the reactions have been quite negative, saying that it caused motion sickness to the audience, and some have complained that it gave away the realism to the CGI. The reason why I think this is because we're in fact used to 24 frames per second, because that's how every movie over the century is recognised on using. Now, let's move on to the very early part of the motion pictures, which have started from the later part of the 19th century. They started off as silent films, and I'm going to start my first example with A Trip to the Moon, directed by Georges Méliès. This short French film was made in 1902, with a running time of 16 minutes. A Trip to the Moon is one of the very first examples of the science fiction genre and is still a masterpiece to this day. Now, let's talk about finance. All films start with a moment of inspiration. Good ideas and story concepts are the foundation of any solid film project. Screenwriters usually have the initial idea or story, but producers, who are in charge of raising money for a film project, frequently come up with ideas as well. Ideas for films can be original or adapted from plays, novels, or real-life events, which make up approximately half of all the Hollywood films. Ideas cannot be protected by copyright for any other intellectual property right for that matter, because copyright subsists only in the tangible expression of ideas. In order to use a copyright work, you need to get permission from the copyright owners. This process can be especially long and expensive while dealing with films, since they are complex works involving copyrights of a large number of contributors. There are different film funding companies such as the BFI Film Academy, the Bankside Films, Creative England, and Microwave. Now, let's move on to shot types. Shot types are camera angles operated in different positions which create different emotions to the audience. For example, the close-up shots are used for when the actor's face are in frame to create different kinds of emotion of how the character is feeling, whether it's suspense, anger, or fear. However, there are different types of close-up shots, such as extreme close-ups, which is when the camera is zoomed right into the actor's face, or the mouth or the eyes could be shot on their own. Next is the medium shot. The medium shot is a general all-purpose shot. Medium shots are used for dialogue sequences, as they allow the viewer to pick up on the character's movements. Body language is important to convey emotion, and the medium shot remains close enough to capture that emotion. Now, the last important shot we see in films is of course establishing shots. The establishing shot is unique in the cinema, that is distinguished not only by its scale but by its function as well. Typically, this function is understood to involve the definition of on-screen space and on-screen spatial relationships. Timing and sound is one of the most important aspects in filmmaking. Sound permits the filmmaker to represent time in various ways. This is because the time represented on the soundtrack may or may not be the same that is represented in the image. Plot time consists of temporal qualities of the events that actually happen in the film. Plot time shows us selected story events but only refers to others. It usually conveys a shorter span than the complete story. Without having good lighting set up, the result will not show a good visual picture to the audience, making it not as appealing. Fill light is a shorter light and is usually placed opposite the key light. The fill light cuts down on shadows created by the bright key light. Visual effects can range between all kinds of effects. This will come into the editing process. Depending on the type of effects you want in your video will help with that story you are telling. A filming location is a place where a film or television series would be produced. In addition to or instead of using sets constructed on a movie studio, backlot or soundstage. In filmmaking, a location is any place where a film crew will be filming actors and recording their dialogue. This can be a very important process when making your video, depending on your storytelling. Props are an important part of filmmaking. Props is short for property and refers to items owned by or belonging to a character in a film. Often on film sets, one of the members of the film crew will fill a position called prop master. Prop masters on a film set are responsible for creating props or bringing them onto the set and keeping them organised. Now, before we finish, we would like to show you one of our short videos we made including all of the shot types, locations and copyright legalisation. Our video is called The Chase. Please enjoy and thank you for listening.
The degree that you studied. It's about the whole life experience. It should be. Where you going?
Aber so finde ich finde jetzt, so ist es echt kindlich. Ja.
Hey! It's my coffee! That was my coffee.
I'm so sorry, mate. I'm so sorry. Mate, I'm so sorry. It's alright, brother.
Monster.
You